Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Code Enforcement and Nuisance Board meeting of April 28, 2015. It's a little after 5 p.m. here in City Hall Commission Chambers. Can we call the roll, please?
Dearbone.
Here.
Simpson.
Here.
Wilder. Thomas.
Here.
Deere.
Here.
Okay, can we swear the staff in, please, and the officers? You raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you. All right, the first case that's loud. The first case we have 2015-144, citation 2015-151. The address is 1153 Clay Street. Owner, Edgar and Sandra Mills. Respondent, Edgar Mills. Code Enforcement Officer is Mo Hillard. Hillard, would you tell us what you found?
Okay,
Summarize.
on January 23rd of 2015, I received a tenant complaint through City Central about the residence at 1153 Clay Street. The property is owned by Edgar and Sandra Mills. It took me a little bit to get hold of the tenant, but by the 26th, I called Jeff Mills, who is Mr. Edgar Mills' property manager, and he agreed to meet me at the property, said that the tenant was in good standing. So we went ahead and did the inspection. During the inspection, I found the interior surface of numerous rooms in the house had a mold-like substance, which was the complaint. She was complaining of a lot of mold and water leaks in the house. There were numerous windows with broken panes of glass. They just didn't fit inside the frames at all. There was also, which she didn't even realize was any kind of code problem, an area of the living room floor that was sagged down. It just felt like you could about fall right through it. There was no means of ventilation in either of the bathrooms. There was also a leak in a shower head and in the kitchen sink. And the only means of heat was an unvented gas heater. The floor furnace didn't work. So I provided the notice of violation with the reinspection date of March 2nd. On the 2nd, I called Mr. Jeff Mills to set up a reinspection, and he asked for more time. The weather wasn't well, and I guess there had been some broken pipes at the property that had to be fixed. So no heat. So I moved the inspection to March 9th, and once again, he asked me to extend it, so I did again. Let's see, on March 23rd, I called again, and again, he stated he hadn't had time to fix the violations, so I extended his time until April 7th. On April 7th, I tried to call, but he was on vacation. I did get hold of Miss Sandra Mills, and she referred me to Edgar Mills. So I told him what the violations were. He said this was the first time he was hearing of it. And, well, suffice to say, let's see, 8th and the 9th and the 10th I called, trying to get a time when I could, really I was asking him to speak with Jeff because we'd been trying to work together to get this done. And finally, on March 10th, I just told him we need to do this inspection, at least see where we're at with it. We might be able to give more of an extension. We might, you know, if there was at least some of the violations were dealt with. Mr. Mills met me at the property. He was very upset through the entire thing. I was trying very hard to keep calm, and it really kind of got out of hand. He was being a little bit rude. When I tried to explain anything, he just kept cutting me off. And he kept telling me to write him up. So finally, after a while, I just kind of told, okay, well, I can do that. So I went ahead and wrote the citation for him. And the violations that were still there was still a mold-like substance in many of the interior surfaces. Certain rooms had been dealt with. This was the re-inspection, what I saw. Some rooms had been dealt with, but other rooms just didn't have anything else in them except for the walls look like that. So the new tenant, there is a new tenant in there now, had just left these rooms and it was still like that. The ventilation fans in both the bathrooms were not vented to the outside. They were just vented up into the attic, which really is just going to cause more humidity and mold problems. So it says right in the code that it needs to be vented outside. And there's still no floor furnace, or, well, there's no primary, I don't care if there's a floor furnace, but there needs to be a primary source of heat in the house. And there's no source of heat except for one unvented gas heater in the living room. So that's why they had, broken pipes. At the time of writing the citation, the case had been open for 72 days, and as of today, it's been open for 90 days.
The furnace you mentioned in the living room, that's not a floor, or is it a floor
It
furnace?
is a floor furnace, and it doesn't.
Unvented?
No, the floor furnace that is in the house does not work. There's no gas line to it. It doesn't work at all. So then there's another gas line that comes in and goes to an unvented gas heater on the wall, just like a small on the wall unvented gas heater.
Okay.
Is that considered a fire hazard in addition to a health hazard, or?
You're allowed to have that as a secondary source of heat, but that cannot be your primary source of heat.
In this case, it was.
That's the only source.
And
of
has been since March, all this cold weather.
Oh,
we've
since
had.
January was
Or
when
January, since
Mhm.
January.
Yes,
And one tenant was in there, is now moved out, and there's another
and
tenant
there's
in
another
there.
tenant in there now.
In there now,
Mhm.
and it's still the same heat
Yes.
source
I
exists.
do not know when that tenant moved in. I have no idea. But sometime between January and now,
Okay,
Is the mold still there?
yes, that was the day of the inspection, March 10th. That is
April
what
10th.
that mold-like substance was.
Wait a minute.
March or April?
That's when you wrote the
I keep
citation,
doing
right?
that.
It's
It was
April 10th.
April 10th.
Yeah.
I apologize. I keep calling it March.
Okay.
okay.
All right, who's here for the owner?
Yes, I'm his son, Jeff Mills.
All right, would you raise your right hand?
Yes, sir.
Swear to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
So help you God.
Yes, sir, I do.
All right, let's hear your side.
Well, I mean, it was just timing and weather, and I couldn't get nobody to do it. I couldn't get nobody to fix it. It was a winter, it was a snowstorm, and then only thing that is not done now is the heat and air. I sent somebody to look at the floor furnace, and it is unfixable. So, I mean, I've got estimates for a brand-new heat and air unit, but that's all I can do to the house. I really, that's the only way to put heat in that house. There is no attic in the house, and there is no crawl space in the house at all. So I'm gonna have to, if anybody knows what a mini split is, I'm gonna put a couple mini split units in it.
You mentioned the weather of 90 days. How many bad days?
Oh, I have no idea. Well, I mean,
Do you have that,
I've got so much going on.
Counselor?
This is the weather from January through March.
But you have it rented now to another tenant?
Yes, I mean, I fixed, like I say, when the previous tenant moved out, it was during, everything in the house froze up. Every single pipe in the house froze and busted. So I couldn't get everything else done because I had to run brand new water lines through the whole house. Every house, from the hot water heater to everything was busted in the whole house.
How many properties do you own or manage?
Well, I mean, my father has like 20 properties.
Do what?
My father has like 20.
How many properties do you own or manage?
I own 2. And I
You-
take care of his.
Do you take care of your father's properties too?
Yes. He stays gone 6 to 8. I mean, he's a snowbird, so he's never here.
I suspect that the cost of fixing those pipes was not
It wasn't
cheap.
No, sir, it was not.
Maybe the furnace would have been a better
Well,
choice for
the
you.
woman had moved out, so there was nothing. There was no heat or anything on at the house.
Well, maybe.
Well, I
maybe-
did, like I say,
There was-
I had no idea what was in the property. I really didn't.
The gas heaters were
Heat
running
wise.
when I went to that first inspection. The gas heater was on. That was the only thing that was on.
And the house was, I mean, really warm. And the house was not cold at all. Well, we weren't there on a freezing day, but it was a
No,
cold
it
day.
It wasn't a freezing day, but
Yeah.
it, you know, it was chilly and in that, in the living room and whatnot was fine.
I've recently hired within the last month a new maintenance man. He's gone down there. All the vents are vented out. All of that has been bleached and killed and all of that, so. We should paint it with kills.
Have you inspected since the
I have
kills?
not, I called today to request and see if he'd let me in so that during the board meeting I could agree with them that had been dealt with, but today wasn't a good day for that.
Like I said, I couldn't, there was nobody at home and I couldn't get down there today. The tenant, he still isn't home. I don't think he gets off till like this time of day every day.
So you said the stuff has been done, how recently?
I mean, within the last month. Everything, I mean, the vents, had 2 windows on it, 2 brand new windows put in it. The windows were in bad shape. Had Window City put 2 brand new windows in it. Vented out the bathrooms. The sink, there was a hot water heater dripping or something. That was just a leaking fitting.
So the issue with the, let's say the mold is fixed, the issue with the heat, that has to be, I mean, that has to be working under code, is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
We had a meeting with Mr. Edgar Mills, a couple weeks ago. He came in and was inquiring about the appeal process and explaining the process to him. And he was trying to explain to me, he couldn't understand why at this point of the year, he had to go ahead and fix his heat. I had to explain to him this started back in January. That's what started the process. So just because it's taken so long to get to the now of still not fixing the things in the first place doesn't relinquish his duties to get it fixed. So it has to be fixed at this point. So that's what we're waiting on, I think.
Mr. Mills, when do you anticipate getting this fixed?
Yes, like I said, I brought an estimate. I had another guy bring me, Mooneyhan Air, Heat and Air brought me one today. I mean, it's $8,200 for 2 mini split systems, because one's not gonna do it. And the problem with that, I mean, like I say, there is no attic space. It's old, big, tall roof house, no attic space and no crawl space. So that's about the only option.
If it's a tall building and there's nothing above the ceiling,
Ceiling goes, yeah, no.
it's open ceiling to the top?
I mean, there might be, I mean, there's nothing you can get, there's
Well,
no
you
crawl.
just said it was a big, tall building.
It's a 1,500 square foot home, but they're tall ceilings in the house, but there is no crawl space whatsoever to get in the attic. There's no place to go, no place to get into it.
Have you looked at that?
I haven't looked at the attic because I saw that they had put in, the vent fan that he had put in was like you switch the light on and the light and the vent fan comes on at the same time. And that's when I asked him, where does it vent to? And Mr. Edgar Mills, and he said, it vents to the attic. And I said, well, it says right in the code, it has to vent to the outside. And he just said, well, I didn't do that, and I didn't actually look at it, get into the attic to look at it. I wish I, kind of had now. But I told him when I come back for reinspection, I want to be able to see up in the attic where the vents go to. Because he tried to switch it after I told him it was supposed to be vented to the outside. He went, oh, okay, well, it is. And it was just sort of like, well, I'd like to see that then.
I'm confused. If it goes up in the attic, there must be an attic.
Yeah, that's what I would assume, I saw the access, the attic access. I don't know how much is there. I mean, I don't know how.
My maintenance man can't get up into it. And he's a little bitty guy. He cannot crawl up in there.
How are they going to fix
How did they vent
how are they
the-
going to fix
It's
the,
called I mean, I'm pretty sure one of them, we had to go up and cut a hole, pull some shingles back. One of them went and put a pipe on.
Yeah. What you-
I know he did that. We had to go up and, one of them we had to put a pipe on.
for, pipe for what now?
To
To
vent
vent the
that,
bathroom.
yeah. To vent, so it vents it out the house, it's not just going straight into the attic.
Well, that's what Dad had to do that anyway. I mean, if you're gonna vent outside, you have to go through the attic or out somewhere, crawl space somewhere or other, so. And regarding the heat and air system, I don't think we really should care, as long as they get the heat and air system in there. And
I
it
don't
works.
care, I don't care what it is.
I mean, if it
No,
costs
I've got a-
$8,200.
I've got a good tenant, and I've got 3 houses right now. People complain about the heat and being high, so I've got 3 houses right now. I'm gonna put, he does, my father, central heat and air units in.
I'm ready to make a motion.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I make a motion with uphold citation and the fine.
Second?
Simpson,
Yes.
Deere,
Yes.
Dearbone,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Deere.
Yes.
They want that estimate?
You need this back?
Now, we've done this. What's our course now as far as the heating and a time limit on getting that?
Well, that would be,
Well, theoretically, the next step is to go ahead and get an appointment with Mr. Mills or one of the Mr. Millses and get access into the apartment, check it out, inspect it, and see what has and has not been completed. And then he's already got some estimates going, so it sounds like he's going in the right direction there. He's to find out what time frame that can actually be placed in. At this point, it's been, what, 90-some odd days?
30 days.
So, since he's got his estimates, I mean, I don't know how many he's got, but, we're willing to work with getting a reasonable amount of estimates and getting it done. But it needs to be done within the next short amount of time.
What do you think we can get it done by the next meeting or before the next meeting so they could come out and inspect?
It's 30 days, Jeff.
Well, it should be. So I'm not using those, I'm getting real heat and air guys. I'm gonna have it done, and I'm gonna make do it good.
That's typically what I would have gave was about 30 days.
All right.
Okay?
So they'll get with you on an inspection and,
That's the thing, if you just let me know, I can get with my tenant.
right, I understand.
I don't even think I have a copy of the key there. If I do, I don't know. I mean, I can get a key. You can make me a copy of it, one or the other.
Realistically, Jeff, in the next 1 or 2 days, she's going to get it.
Yeah, no problem. Call me tomorrow, we'll see about making an appointment for third.
okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you.
All right, the rest of the items here, there's no business, public works, parking tickets, animal control, alarm citation, repeat offender, or smoking citation. New business, it looks like we're cutting most of Bowling Green now. What do we have? 12? Is that a good year or a bad year?
That's about average.
Okay.
What these properties are vacant properties. Most of these are vacant lots where either we've torn a house down or there's a house been down on, and the owners are simply MIA. We can't find an owner, an heir. There's been no probate filed to the estate. These are all in either a state of a third-party foreclosure or a city foreclosure. these change a little bit every year. Some have fallen off that we mowed last year, some have been settled, some the city foreclosed on. But foreclosing on the properties is something that the city has to budget for. So there's only so many that they can foreclose on every year. So in the interest of the neighborhood and keeping the neighborhoods looking good, we mow them. We come to you and ask you to approve for us to be able to mow these.
Okay, do I hear a motion to mow these?
Motion made.
Second.
Dearbone,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Deere.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, old business, case number 2014-3286, citation 2015-360. The address is 416 Warren Way. The owner is D&L Rentals, LLC, respondent Don Minton, Code Enforcement Board Mo Hillard, and it looks like we have corrected this.
All those items have been corrected, yes, sir.
That was a long slog.
It was.
All right, that's what we want to see it done. Okay, thank you. I don't think we need to do anything with this, or do we?
The fees need to be addressed.
Ah,
The citation has been upheld, but the fees were tabled
Okay.
until this meeting.
Okay, any discussion about the fees? $306.48.
How long was this case open and working?
Long time.
The
Half a year?
The first citation was 90 days. And then, it's been, it was
October?
October of last year that this all started. So,
Okay. I'll make a motion that the fees be paid, upheld, whatever the proper word is.
We hold the citation and the fees.
And the
Already
fees.
upheld the citation,
Yes.
so I think just to clear up the record.
Uphold the citation
And
and pay the fees.
Yes, sir.
is there a second?
I'll second that.
Simpson, Dearbone,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Deere.
Yes.
Okay, the last case, 2015-107, citation 2015-4. The address is 535 Modern Way, owner Midwest Trucking, respondent Dina Hotlovy. Is that close? All right. Citation Officer Josh Hawkins. Mr. Hawkins?
Okay, so this is a follow-up from the last meeting that we spoke about. This was February 24th. There was a 60-day extension granted to this date. During that time frame, the majority of the work has been completed. There is still a portion of the property that's on the photograph now that still needs to be addressed. I spoke to Ms. Hotolova, and she thinks that the erosion prevention sediment control contractor that she has got to do the other work, that they didn't communicate on the extent of the area that should be addressed. She said within the next week or so that he's going to start, even within the next few days, pending weather, that he's going to start and complete that area as well, so that it matches the other area, and the whole site should be in compliance. As soon as that area is addressed, the site should be returned to compliance and pass the inspection.
How long do you think, given your experience, it would take to finish that?
Depending on the size of the crew, it shouldn't, a day, maybe 2 days if weather, or if it was only one guy or something.
Okay.
But given the square footage, it shouldn't take very long at all.
Okay. Ms. Hotolov, would you raise your right hand? You swear to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
All right. What do you think?
Looks good. It's done.
That?
Well, I spoke with builder. They worked past few days, and I talked to him the whole March and April and to get it done, and he just took his time, I guess, waiting for last minute to get it done. So he missed that piece. I actually inspected you know, because I remember from the pictures last time I was here that needs to be done. And I mentioned to him, so I don't know, I don't know if he didn't check after his employee, that's what he told me, they missed that piece. He wasn't aware that he's supposed to complete that piece that was part of the project. So he said that, I spoke with him this morning and he will send his employee to get that finished. So like Josh said, it's gonna take probably one day to get it done. So it's gonna be the next few days.
Well, they have to do grade it and seed it
Yeah,
and then
that's
put
it.
straw?
Correct, yes.
How big an area is that? You can't tell from the,
It's,
There you go.
the entire length of the slope is probably 3 to 4 feet. It's a kind of an L-shaped slope, probably maybe 50 by 75, 50 by 100 or so. Given the extent of the other areas of the property, I mean, it really should be a maybe 2 to 3 day project at the very most, just depending on equipment mobilization and the size of the crew. The erosion is not, I mean, it's
already eroded.
6 to 8 to 10 inches, which is already a pretty decent sized rill, and not quite a gully yet, but there are rills in the embankment, and that's kind of our concern. That's why we, get people to go back and vegetate those areas so you don't have that in the runoff.
did you pay for this?
Not yet. The job is not complete, so I didn't pay him, but we'll pay him. Once he get this done, and we'll pay him. I just wanna make sure that passes inspection first, because in my experience, we had a few projects where I would pay for the job and it's not inspection passed, so, I just wanna make sure we pass inspection, and I called him today to schedule inspection, because he said he would get it done probably tomorrow or Thursday, get this finished, and so we can pass inspection.
So if this is inspected next Monday, it'll be done,
Should be.
unless you get a very bad storm.
Hopefully we won't.
Well, I make a motion that we extend this for 1 month, and this will be re-inspected, and
May
we'll-
26th is the
that this
next
will be
meeting.
done. Yeah. That we extend this case for 1 month to get this taken care of. And Josh, most of this has been completed, is that right?
Correct, yes. I mean, you can see from the other 3 photos, this is, it's actually, very nice landscaping, and has been seeded and mulched, and that's exactly what we'd like the site to look like. And given the work that they did there, I don't see how they would meet any great challenge on the other area. I mean, there is a little bit of a slope to deal with, but like I said, she is working with a certified contractor now that's been through our program. We spoke about that last time. That was actually one of the ordinances that she was out of compliance with. So she has that guy working for her, and he should understand the regulations and what has to be done.
All right, do I hear a second?
Second.
Dearbone,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Deere.
Yes.
Come back with grass. Okay.
Flowers.
Flowers. Let's see, what else do we have here? Code violation fees, Exhibit A. Counselor, do we need to do these one at a time, or?
I think unless there's something unusual about it, you can do it all together on one motion.
All right,
There
there a
doesn't
motion?
appear to be anything unusual about it.
Okay.
Also, we need to approve the minutes.
We didn't do the minutes.
No.
I got so excited. Okay. We'll do that after this.
Okay.
Move to accept the consent agenda fines.
Second.
Simpson, Dearbone,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Deere.
Yes.
Okay, the minutes. Save the best to last.
I move that we approve the minutes
I second that.
Dearbone, Simpson. Dearbone,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Deer.
Yes.
Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Deer, Simpson, Dearbone,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Deer.
Yes.